Hello, everyone. Welcome to the E-commerce Leader Series podcast. I'm your host, Eric Bidinger, co-founder and CEO of Luca AI. And today it's my pleasure to welcome Stephanie Crespin, the founder and CEO of Reflaunt. And I'm looking forward to this conversation about circular economy. So just for you guys who don't know, Reflaunt is helping some of the world's leading fashion brands integrate resale directly into the customer experience, and thereby turning what is usually a secondhand commerce into what actually can be strategic growth channel rather than a competitive threat. So today with Stephanie, we're going to explore circular commerce, customer lifetime value, AI, luxury, all that good stuff. So Stephanie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. So for our audience who doesn't know you or Reflaunt, can you tell us a little bit about your journey and what the Reflaunt story is, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my journey in re-commerce in 2014, so a while back, in Singapore, actually, after a very boring traditional corporate career. I started my first company back there, and it was a secondhand luxury marketplace, very similar to Real, but catered to Southeast Asian customers. And I scaled that for a few years. So we went through different rounds of funding. We scaled that to a certain size, and then I ended up selling it in 2018. Because I felt that the model of these luxury marketplace with managed resale were kind of inefficient, and there was a sort of glass ceiling to it. And I felt that the real breakthrough was to connect first-hand and second-hand to create an integrated journey where customers could resell their items from the moment of purchase. So that was the real initial vision, is that we need to basically bring in upstream the resale step into the shopping journey, so that it's way more efficient. We collect the data about the product. We have more information about the provenance of the product, and basically the brand that initially sells the product can retain control over the product's distribution in the secondhand world, but also retain contact and a relationship with its customer.
Fantastic. And which year was that when you got started?
So we started in 2019. So yeah, COVID, more or less. So rough start. We were fortunate enough to meet, key industry players, to be also part of many different incubators, such as the LVMH Maison de Startup, Fashion for Good. So we got a lot of traction and interest from many incubators that are very close to the luxury brands, which in turn gave us the possibility to shape and design the product hand in hand with top maisons that are extremely demanding, but that enabled us really to integrate from the inception the main challenges and priorities of these luxury brands and global brands.
Actually, yeah, no, that's a good point. That was my next question. Am I right into saying that this is a rather novel idea? And if yes, what was your experience with the brands embracing that kind of resale strategy from day zero at the time? And like, what kind of resistance did you meet, and how did you overcome that resistance?
Yeah, a lot of resistance, and I'd say it's still the case today, much less so because RaaS, so we call resale-as-a-service, has become much more common. Everyone is quite educated on circularity and resale. I think there's no more debate around, the sheer size and growth of the markets, and that it'll become, bigger, some say, than firsthand. So for sure, we've made progress, but in 2019, The main, I would say, challenges were what you were saying, which was the threat that resale represents to firsthand, so cannibalization. That was number one. Number two was, and still is, issues and concerns around brand image and brand dilution. So, it still has some sort of stigma and, some connotations that are not always going hand in hand with the luxury world. It has shifted and changed a lot, but back in 2019, definitely to, resell discounted products were not going well with kind of the value chart of luxury brands. And then the third big concern that is also still very relevant is the risks around counterfeits, quality of products, and so on. So I'd say those are the three biggest. Then there was a fourth one, but less big of a challenge than the three first one, which is how do you kind of resell products of past houses, past designers. We've seen in the past years musical chairs with the designers and sort of a small ego war sometimes going out in houses. So bringing back, old collections and so on was not really priority of the houses. Right. But that's very specific, I would say, to the luxury world. Right. So resistance, fair share of resistance for sure. And what helped, I think, was one, sustainability at the time was a big topic, was probably one of the biggest topic in the agendas of the CEOs. And so circularity and resale kind of ticked largely that box in a quite innovative way. Speaking also to younger generations, so brands that wanted to stay relevant to youth and younger audience felt that it was more progressive than other sustainability initiatives out there. And then we were very fortunate, I guess, to also have speak to key stakeholders such as Cédric Charby, which was the CEO of Balenciaga at the time. I think Balenciaga, in the sheer nature of the brand, it has always taken risk and been quite modern and progressive. So it really helped in having that first brand sign up to help us get others. And then I guess the other factor that really helped us is that for the first time, resale was not anymore just about the merchandising of selling secondhand pieces, because that's not our offering. The way that we work is allowing customers of the brand to resell so that they can cash out on the products that they sell, convert that into shopping credits, and to come back to the brands. So it's more of a retention and loyalty tool. And so that play, which is completely different than forcing brands to resell secondhand their items, was very attractive to many brands and retailers and was a very different proposition than the playbook that we usually saw in the market.
Yeah. Now we're going to talk about customer retention shortly. It's true that what you're describing is definitely innovative. One interesting comment is that you've been a serial entrepreneur, and so you know that timing is everything. And yes. It feels like, and again, I mean, I'm definitely not the target client for your product, but it feels like anecdotally, at least, the market has shifted so much in the last 5 years from kind of this badge of honor that people wear in buying secondhand product, which clearly 10 years ago was not the case, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is that also a phenomenon that's worldwide, meaning it's not just in Europe, but all over the world? You see that same shift in consumer attitude to ownership?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say, I'd argue even the US is a huge market for us. I think sustainability is very rooted in European mindsets and behavior. So I think you're right to say that we've probably been leading, but in absolute numbers, the US is far greater. So for us, the biggest market remains the US, and then Europe and UK. Asia comes in a bit further. So I have a lot of experience with the Asian markets, given my first company was over there. Unfortunately, resale is still a bit lagging behind. But I do foresee that markets like China, Korea, and I was in Japan last week. It's always been very present, and they've been much more I would say advanced than us in that field. But other markets in Asia, I'm sure will leapfrog into it at some point.
Right. Yeah. So we talked about the consumer market by region and geography. Can you talk to us a little bit about differences in attitude by age bracket? So do you feel that there's a difference towards your value proposition for the younger generation over the older generation or not?
Yeah. Maybe I can do also a distinction between, because there's two types of customers in resale, right? You have the sellers and the buyers. Now, you don't always have an overlap between sellers and buyers, meaning that, so in terms of age brackets, I would say that sellers, at least in the higher end categories, tend to be a bit older. I mean, makes sense, right? Purchasing power and so on. And then buyers for luxury are usually younger. And then in terms of model, we also see a difference, meaning that in resale, you have managed resale. So it's usually consignment. It's usually facilitated by an actor. So Reflaunt, for example, does that. We collect all the items and we do everything for the user. Usually, time is the biggest deterrent of older customers and wealthier customers. So we also see older, I would say, brackets in the managed resale than in the peer-to-peer, like Vinted and so on. So that's how I would say you see the differences.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's switch gear now to retention and customer lifetime value. So traditional customer lifetime value is someone comes back and repeat purchase your new product. Now you've introduced something new to the equation. Can you talk to us a little bit about it and how the brand themselves are thinking about that?
Yeah. So the first thing that happens, because resale impacts the customer behavior at different steps of the shopping journey. It actually impacts the shopping journey very early on if the customer has been reselling previously, meaning that if I resold and I come back to the brand to shop again, I know and I'm consciously buying, knowing that my next purchase, I'll be able to easily recapture value down the line. So capture, residual value from products that I don't have sufficiently worn. So the approach is going to actually absorb or factor in that value that I can capture back. So conversion is impacted. And also we see an upsell, meaning that customers tend to buy more expensive products, more qualitative products, and more frequently with the retailer, because it acts a bit like a return policy. It kind of guarantees or secures your purchase in a certain way, right? So that's, I would say, the first impact is on the conversion and or actually on the moment of purchase of the first hand. And then afterwards, there's a second impact, which is once I've worn the item and I've resold the piece, basically we do retargeting at the most ideal moment, which is the moment they've emptied their wardrobe and they have disposable cash, right? It's kind of the ideal scenario that everyone dreams of. And we retarget them by, coming with the good news that, hey, you've resold that item. Would you like cash or shopping credits? And usually the shopping credits are incentivized with a certain percentage on top. So that brings back, again, the customer back. And then overall, I would say it kind of locks in your customer because compared to competition or other players where they don't have the service, because they know that with you, their purchasing power is increased. And they have, more value from all the purchases they make with you. So the share of their wallet just kind of gets, redirected towards that brand or retailer.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question. That's a very good point. Do you feel that there is a dividend in brand loyalty from participating in those programs? A brand does not do it, another does it, and for the first time purchase, a client will be induced to go with the brand that actually provides that kind of resale service for all the reasons that you mentioned just now.
Yeah, I really do think, I think that if the customer is aware and knows that there's two options, either buying with retailer number A that has resale and retailer number B that doesn't, for sure. I mean, it's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
The complexity is that it's still a solution. I mean, even us, right? We're not across so many brands and so many retailers. I mean, we're talking about a market with thousands of brands, thousands of hundreds of big retailers. So we still have a lot of work to do to educate customers that they have that option. But yeah, if they're knowledgeable and educated about that, yeah. And then the second piece of the equation that we don't really talk about, or we haven't talked about, is when the retailer and brand offers secondhand and pre-loved within their e-commerce. And there it's a complete different strategy. It's more of acquisition strategy. It's not a retention and loyalty. It's more I'm expanding my offering to a more price sensitive kind of segment of clients. So usually it goes with acquiring maybe a younger target or acquiring a target that is more sensitive to sustainability and to impact, even though surveys and studies shows that that's probably like a smaller driver than affordability. And then there's uniqueness around secondhand piece, which is one of the elements that you were talking about, which is a big behavior change. Well, it's always been there, I guess. I think everyone wants to feel unique, but secondhand is kind of addressing that need that we're seeing.
Good. So we've spoken about the brands, we've spoken about the consumers. Now, can you switch gears a little bit about your business and how you operate it? Obviously, you're sitting between the brands, the retailers, you have the end consumers. It feels like it's quite a complex operation to be running, probably quite data rich as well. And so you could talk to us a little bit about those challenges and how those challenges have evolved over time since the beginning in 2019 to where you are today.
Yes. So just before we go into that quickly, so that the audience understand how we work, we integrate in the brand or the retailer's ecosystem or an e-commerce, allowing their customers to easily put back on sale their past purchases. Once that's done, we capture product data. So it can be either through an integration with the brand catalog, either if it's not fully integrated, then we have to build up that data from scratch, meaning that once the products hit the warehouse, we re-digitize the product. Once that's done, the product data is then pushed simultaneously on the brand e-commerce or in sequence, and then on the rest of the marketplaces. So yes, there's a lot of data flows because the data comes either from the brand e-commerce and the customer, because all of that is linked and combined to create one product listing, or it's data that is then an attribute that are then collected within the warehouse, and usually it's a combination of all, and that creates the product, the digital product passport, if you want to be more modern. And then afterwards, all that data that is linked as well to customer, to logistical flows, because we have to know when it was picked up, where, and so on, and to provenance. All of that data is then either pushed on the distribution channel. So there, we're also going to have data points that are integrating the shipping, the customs, because depending on where the product is pushed, we're going to have differences in costs. And then once the product is sold, we have, other types of data flows in regards to the logistics of the product, but also payment of the customer, vouchers, and so on. So you can imagine that, and we're talking about single SKUs. So it's like huge wealth of data in terms of, product life cycle, customer provenance, where it goes, attributes, and so on. That is way richer than in traditional retail. But all of that on top is done for one single product.
Yeah. So are you a circular economy business? Are you a brand/luxury fashion business, or are you a tech company?
I think we're a tech company first. We started off with, and we still have a very strong mission in terms of circularity, but in reality, sustainability, circularity, it's almost a commodity, and it's of course, like all business needs to be, I would think, circular, or at least of a high impact and sustainable. So that's almost a prerequisite. And so I think we're more of a tech company, because we're not even a e-commerce company, in the sense that, yes, we build storefronts, but our main bread and butter is actually integration of all these stakeholders, all these management of data flows and processes, and so on. So because if you look at how we operate, we look more like a spider web, integrating at different touch points to acquire products, and then dispatching and distributing that data across other, distribution channel, marketplaces, and retailers.
Right. Perfect segue into AI.
Yes.
Go.
Let's go. Okay. Well, AI, we use it at several different levels. Overall, our company, everyone has been on, it sounds simple, but I don't think all companies already are in that kind of state of mind. But everyone has, a paid subscription on either cloud, either ChatGPT, and other different tools depending on their departments. So that's a fair, that's a given. In terms of tools, we have several different of product layers that are on AI, but just to give you concrete examples, in the processing of our products, which is, very time consuming, and so many different steps to create, that perfect PDP. The margins are very slim, so AI has dramatically helped us drive efficiency with image recognition to populate, attributes such as color, model, sizing, all the basics, but then also pricing recommendations. We still have human touch there, but A lot of it now is AI driven. For the authentication, we also have first checks done through AI, and it's not only at a product level, but also on a consumer behavior level and historical data that we have from the customer. So all our supply chain, I would say, is very powered by AI. And then when it comes to more product and tech, like, yeah, less of the but more the integrations, so the API integrations with all the marketplaces, for sure. Now we've, dramatically increased the pace at which we distribute and we integrate with new channels of distribution. It also comes down to having better visibility on the coverage of our products and how we dynamically list the products across the different channels. So I mean, the examples could go on and on, but definitely the pace at which we're able to scale our solution and have control and have agility and also much more accuracy in understanding our business is just dramatic and incredible compared to a year ago and then 2 years ago.
Warms my heart to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, AI, I've been going through ups and downs with AI on a personal level, and being a mother of 3 boys, understanding how it's going to impact our lives and theirs. But overall, as an entrepreneur, AI is so exciting, and for anyone starting now, it's a huge opportunity. So it's a dream for any entrepreneur, I think.
It's massive unlocks, isn't it? I mean, it just gets rid of bottlenecks in many places. Now, obviously, it's still very young, so don't expect too much of it. But on the stuff that it's good at, and it's good at many things, yeah, it's quite incredible.
Yeah.
Up-leveling it a little bit. So I'm just thinking about maybe you pick whether you want to stay at the level of e-commerce or maybe just drill down at the level of fashion and luxury. If we're having this conversation again in 2030, 4 years from now, where do you think the industry is headed, given everything that's happening around AI and around changing in consumer behavior, etc.?
I think, definitely the way we'll be shopping is going to be completely different. I don't think these storefronts online will be the way that we shop. I mean, multi-brand retailers was a way of discovery. A lot of them have disappeared, but there'll still be a need for customers to shop several brands at once and to discover. So I really don't believe that this idea of branded storefronts, where customer goes one brand after the other, one e-commerce after the other, will make sense. You'll have, shopping carts with from different businesses all at once. So for sure that will change. And then in terms of resale, that will also be completely, I would say, how do you call it, like generalized. And we already know today that over a majority of customers, 60%, we say, it sounds a lot, but I think that's specific to the high-end fashion industry, are looking at the prices of products in the secondhand before buying their item. So I think with that, we will have indicators of the resale value of all products before you purchase it. So it will change and design the first-hand market enormously, right? And dictate the second-hand market will almost dictate the price at which you can sell in first-hand. So I do think that we'll be seeing that. It's not really AI related, but AI will facilitate and accelerate that transparency, the accuracy of pricing, and so on. What else? I think that AI is going to help us accelerate massively also resell, because resell has always been complex to scale because of that single SKU element. But given now that all those steps can be simplified with it. And what else? I mean, yeah, I just think that, resell and secondhand are just going to be overlapping, and we won't be seeing it siloed the way that we see it today.
Yeah, no, exactly. And as you were speaking, I was thinking, so it's interesting on the pricing front. It's like circularity on top of circularity, which is very reflexive and quite interesting. I was thinking, like, why stop at the luxury goods, right? Why not circularity all the way through to everyday items as well? That'd be interesting.
Absolutely. I think we started off with fashion because one, it's one of the categories that is being transacted at volume. You could say that electronics as well. But electronics, I mean, there is some sort of expertise to be, at least in the way that we wanted to operate it, to create moats. We wanted to have some sort of expertise around repair and refurbishment and so on. So electronics expertise is quite different from, fashion expertise for that. So there is still today some sort of, expertise in those categories when it comes to resale. We are looking and, considering expanding in other categories, but at this stage, there's already so much to be done in our own industry. We're keeping our lane.
That's nice. Yeah. It's nice to see you have a blue sky, even if you stay in your lane, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love the conversation. We could keep on talking about this for hours. Actually, we should book another podcast maybe 6 months from now, and then we'll just check in and see where you are then. But before you go, can we go through a quick round of rapid fire questions, please? No right or wrong answer. Growth or profitability?
Profitability.
Right. So this one, if I gave you the option between a business intelligence data dashboard or conversational AI?
So repeat the dashboard. What would it be?
A traditional business intelligence dashboard, what you see when you get to the office every morning?
Yeah.
Or a conversational AI that does this?
Conversational AI.
Thank you. That was self-serving. An AI copilot or another employee?
AI copilot.
There you go. Yeah. And finally, the hardest question. So Paris, London, or Milan?
Ooh, tricky. Paris.
There you go. Nothing to do with the fact that you're originally from France, or?
Belgium and France.
Okay, there you go. Well, Stephanie, that was an amazing conversation. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. I hope the audience appreciate it as well. And for their benefit, could you tell us where they can find you and your company, please?
Absolutely. So you can check us out at reflaunt.com. And then if you have items that you want to sell, you can also go on the website and you'll have the link to organize a pickup of your items. And we have that service for men and women, no children for the time being, and super easy, super fun to use because you don't have to do anything.
Fantastic. Stephanie, thank you for your time. Loved it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
On the next episode.